Thank you. Obviously, this is something for further debate. We're going to ask one more question and then move to closing statements. And this was posed by an audience member as well. So we're going to go back to energy just for a minute. The question is regarding the congressional ban on exploration in the outer continental shelf, as well as drilling in ANWR. And I think just a little bit more discussion on what are your feelings about those issues and the result of those issues, and how should we move ahead with further exploration. On this one, Michelle goes first.
I believe in the all of the above strategy that says if it's energy, let's legalize it and have Congress get out of the way to make sure that we can access all of the energy that we have available to us in the United States. I believe we should be drilling in the outer continental shelf. We have, on a conservative estimate, 88 billion barrels of oil. We have, just in North Dakota and Montana, 10 billion barrels of oil. We have over 1.3 trillion, conservatively speaking, in Colorado, Utah, and Wyoming of oil. We also have 90 billion barrels in the Arctic waters. All of this has been available to us. We've heard a lot about how the oil companies have 68 million acres that they aren't drilling on. Well, let me tell you why. It's because radical environmental lobbies have filed lawsuits so that the production of energy can't occur. They've shut down that production. Every lease that has been entered into by an energy company is in some stage of exploration or production or drilling, one of the three. But in the 10-year lease period that's available, there are 11 points of entry where lawsuits can be filed. 478 leases were let up in the sea just north of Alaska. Do you want to know how many lawsuits were filed to shut that production down? 478. Another lawsuit was filed so that any lease that is let in the future will have a lawsuit previously filed before that lease is even less. Do you want to know why you're paying so much at the pump? It's because we have lawsuits that are out of control right now on the production of American energy. You bet I believe it's a great place to be drilling up in ANWR. I was there in the end of January, or end of July. You can't find a more perfect place for drilling. It is under ice and darkness 9 months out of the year. ANWR is 20 million acres. The amount of land we're looking at, which Jimmy Carter set aside for drilling, is 2,000 acres, the size of a postage stamp on a football field. I saw it with my own eyes. It is the perfect place to drill, and it will help America to be energy independent. And by the way, for 31 years, we have been drilling 70 miles east of ANWR, and we have not had environmental hazard from that. As a matter of fact, my opponent mentioned the caribou. The population was 3,000 on caribou. Today that population is 30,000. So this shows that you can combine American energy production and responsible stewardship of our very precious, valuable natural resources.
Well, I support additional domestic exploration. I don't support drilling in ANWR. I haven't seen a cost-benefit analysis that would suggest yet that that's a good idea. But I do support additional domestic exploration. I think we need to find the energy resources that we have in this country, but to continue to pursue the policies of the past. And remember, the Bush administration has been in office now for 8 years. The Republicans controlled the House and the Senate for 6 of those 8 years. It is the Bush administration that is in charge of the Minerals Management Service within the Interior Department that is regulating the leases. And we've seen what an incredible kind of relationship that exists between minerals management and the oil and gas industry in this country. There has not been adequate oversight, and that has allowed for some of the kind of things to go on that we have seen. We do need to do additional domestic exploration, but we need to protect those resources for the future. We need, in addition to that exploration, aggressive programs that move us forward in conservation. I mean, the one thing that we have seen from Representative Bachmann about energy conservation is her defense of the incandescent light bulb. I mean, there is more to this than that. We need to be moving forward. She voted against the energy bill. The first time in 30 years that we had finally tried to do something about improving the efficiency of our vehicles that can reduce consumption dramatically. in this country, what we can do in terms of refrigeration and lighting and so many other areas to reduce, and what we can do in terms of additional domestic development of those new alternative energy resources. And again, she voted against the tax credits for wind and solar and for the tax credits for oil. Her real plan here is to maintain our dependence on oil. And we cannot afford that. We need to be creating the green technologies, the green economy, the environmental and energy economy of the future, and that's going to help us create jobs. That's going to help us reduce our impact on the environment, and that's the kind of policy we need to have, rather than a drill, drill, drill policy, which is just more of the same.
The plan that my opponent supports will keep us nearly 70% dependent on foreign oil. Today we are 60% dependent on foreign oil. We're headed towards 70% dependency because my opponent refuses to do the drilling that we need to do to become not dependent on the foreign sources of oil. He and the Democrat-controlled Congress refused to open up shale oil production. They refused to open up production of natural gas in the eastern part of the Gulf of Mexico where it's readily accessible. They have said no, no, no when it comes to energy, and nothing could have been more clear than the Non-Energy Energy Act, which was a joke in 2007. And if you want to have an example of how the Democrat-controlled Congress operates, they do believe that they should decide which light bulb you should use. You don't even have a choice anymore. You'll have to use mercury-laden light bulbs, which just last week a report was issued that the people have health concerns with the UV ratings of these light bulbs. I just believe people should have a choice when it comes to what kind of light bulb they want to use. But more importantly, I believe that you deserve to be paying $2 a gallon for gasoline, not $6 or $8 a gasoline, and that's what will happen under my opponent's plan.
Again, what has reduced the price of gasoline has been the reduction in consumption. And that will be the same going forward. The more that we invest in alternatives, the less we consume of oil, the less control OPEC and others will have over our oil prices, and the more we will find renewable energy sources and cheaper energy sources in this country. It is Representative Bachmann's plan that is going to get us to a point where we are 70 or 80% dependent on foreign oil sources, because she does not move us forward in terms of those alternatives and the kind of conservation programs we need in this country. And all you have to do is look at the voting record. The other thing, there was a group of folks in the House of Representatives from both sides of the aisle. Tim Walz was on it, a bunch of other people were on it. They came up with a sound bipartisan plan. And that's what we need more of in this country. We need people working across the aisle, coming together, finding those common solutions that can actually move us forward, instead of this ongoing, narrow, ideological approach that continues to drive us apart and fails to provide any reasonable, responsible solutions for our future.